The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey everyone, how are you doing? Thank you very much for turning up. Can you do me a favor and just confirm that you can see my screen and hear me okay? You should be able to see like a Convertri funnel dashboard with one page in it that says coffee at the top. Okay, yep, we've got a yes from Deborah, fine on both from John, yes from Alexandra, all great from Joel, see and hear from Peter, and Dale, Michael, Charlotte, excellent. Okay, looks like it's going okay. So this is our Getting Started webinar. The idea of this webinar is to basically help anyone who, like maybe you've just signed up to Convertri, maybe you've had it for a while, but you haven't got around to like properly putting it through its paces yet. The idea of this webinar is to show you like around the app, to help you get started by showing you how to build a couple of simple pages and connect them into a funnel. So I'm Neil. I'm one of the co-founders. If we go to I'll just flip to our website here. So this is our like contact us page. On the website, you can see that's me there. At the back, I'm the one wearing that rather nice red hat. The guy on the left who isn't wearing a hat, because nobody's perfect, that is Andy. He's my business partner. Basically, he does the tech side, and I do the words side. So let's say on this call, I'm going to demonstrate building a couple of simple pages completely from scratch. We'll have a simple opt-in page that is going to look something like this. And we're going to have a thank you page to go with it. And we're going to attach the form. We're going to connect all that. And so when we're done, we'll have these pages completely live. And you'll be able to go to the first page, enter your details. That will then sign you up to the form. You'll go to the thank you page where you'll be able to download our lead magnet. So a couple of questions. It is a nice hat, Joel. Yes, it is. Couple of questions before we start. Has anyone been to one of these calls before? Or are you all like fresh faces here? Okay, looks like we've got a mix. A few fresh faces, a few people who have been before. So yeah, but if you've been to one of these before, then I mean you'll find the presentation pretty familiar because we do basically the same thing every time. Obviously, after that's done, there'll be a Q&A session. I'll hang around basically either until you run out of questions or until I run out of voice, and I'll just answer like any questions you've got about Convertri. So anything that you want to know, I say I'm here. I'm happy to answer any other questions you've got as well. Like if you've got any other questions on on marketing stuff, or even anything else, like I'm happy to answer anything. But Convertri is definitely like my specialist subject. So next question: how skilled, like on a scale of like 0, like knowing nothing, to 10 being a world-class expert, how skilled do you feel like you are with Convertri at the moment? Cool. Got a 4 from Peter, 1 from Michael, a 5 from Deborah. Yeah, some more 1s and 2s coming in there. 0 from Charlotte. We will see what we can do to fix that. So let's get into the demonstration. So let's say we are going to build a couple of simple pages. We are going to build a simple lead funnel. So the first thing we're going to do is in this funnel, we are going to create a new page. And we'll do that by clicking on this button up here in the top right. I should say as well, like obviously, if you've got any questions on what I'm doing on the way through, then please do put them in the chat. I'll try and keep an eye on it. It'll only be like half an hour because I'm trying to do the presentation at the same time. But if you think I've missed your question, then like do feel free to ask it again. All I would ask is try to keep the questions to like what you're seeing on the screen while the demonstration's running. If you've got a question about any other aspect of Convertri, I'm more than happy to answer it. We'll just do it like after the demonstration's done, so we don't get like too sidetracked. Likewise, if there's like anything you want to see me do again, if you want me to slow down a bit, then let's say just put the note in there. So this is the template selector. See, there's lots of templates to choose from here. You can preview any of them by clicking the little preview button at the bottom. We're not going to use a template for this demonstration. We're going to build these pages completely from scratch. And we're doing that because I think that just makes it easier to show you a bit more of what Convertri can do. And honestly, a lot more people tend to use Convertri that way. Like we've put a lot of work into developing a load of templates, but a lot of people just like to build their own thing. So let's start with the page. We'll just call that opt-in and hit OK. And that will create us our blank page. So now we'll click on Edit Page, and this will take us into the Convertri editor. So this is the Convertri canvas, like blank page from where we start. And so the first thing that we are going to do, if we have a look at like the page we're aiming for, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find this image to go on the back. And we'll do that by dragging the image from the elements bar over here, and we'll just drag that straight onto the page. Now you can see I've got this image already in my selector. These images here are ones which I've used, which I've used on this account in the past. What I'm actually going to do is delete this image so you can see how to upload your own images. Something else you can do is, like if you don't have an image of your own ready to use, is you can search Pixabay for it. So to do that, click on the Search Pixabay in the left-hand menu of the media gallery, and we can search for pretty much anything in here. Like, does anyone have a suggestion for what we should look for? Let's just see what Pixabay's got. Stefan, if you can only see 7 templates, that means you're looking at the templates in the funnel selector rather than the page selector. Once you've created a funnel, if you click on New Page after that, then you'll see all the templates you just saw then. Okay, Kimberly's in first with travel. Let's see what Pixabay can do with us on there. So there, and that gives us like a whole ton of images which we can find. And these are all completely public domain. You can do whatever you want with them. Let's say that's just what Pixabay does. It's a really nice service. And you get some really good pictures out of them as well. Now, what you can see here is that the resolution for Pixabay images is 1920 by 1280, thereabouts. And that is the reason I'm not actually going to download a Pixabay image for this one. Like, it is an image I found on Pixabay, but I went to the website and downloaded it like through my account. And the reason I did that is because when you do that, you can have a far higher resolution image. So if I just drag the file on here, so it's just dragged on from a folder on my computer, and you can see Convertri is uploading it now. Now, if we select this one, you can see this is a far higher resolution, like 5200 by 3.5. And the reason for that is Pixabay's API only allows you to download images up to a certain size, which is that 1920 by 1280. And normally that is all you'd want with a website, because like this image I've just put on, that's like a 5 megabyte image. It's very, very big, not the kind of thing you'd normally want on a web page. But because of the optimizations Convertri does, it's still going to load really, really fast. And that means, like, personally, when I'm building sites, I figure I may as well go for the highest quality possible, since like if I'm using Convertri, I can do that and I don't have to worry about the load time. So to move things around, we can just drag the image, put it wherever we want. What I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to make it full width. by clicking this button in the Quick Actions toolbar. And now just like drag the top up and the bottom down so we can get a bit more of the woman on our page. Maybe about that. Now I don't have like set sizes for this. Like I'm not going to like 100% try and recreate what's on this page. I'm just going to go for something that looks kind of like it. And so I'm just going to be judging this stuff by eye. So I'm just going to be adjusting it until I like how it looks. And that's actually one of the reasons I quite like designing on Convertri, because you can do that. You know, you don't have to be a hotshot designer. You just have to play around with things until you think they look nice. So the next part is we are going to do these color panels at the top and bottom. I've started by dragging on a panel, again from the Elements toolbar, and we're going to stick that at the top. And you can see as I move these things up and down, you see the snap lines appear, so you can easily snap them into place. Again, we'll make that full width. And now with this panel selected, in the Properties panel, I'm going to go to Background, which is here. And then we'll click on the color selector, and we'll go for that light beigey orange color that was in the background of that page. I think it was something a bit like that. So we'll select that. Now to make sure we get exactly the same color on the bottom, I'm going to clone this panel by clicking the clone button in that toolbar. And then we'll just drag this new one down to the bottom. And we'll make that a bit wider. So we've already got like the main backing of the page. And let's, there's a couple of questions come in. Dale's asking, can you use your own domain or do you have to use the convertri.com subdomain? You don't have to. You can absolutely use your own domain if you want. I'm using a convertri.com subdomain for this demo, but you can set up your own custom domain and publish all your pages on there. Peter's saying, what is the ideal resolution? To be honest, it's basically just as big as you can. We do a lot of optimization on the images. And in fact, to answer your next question on there, no, you don't have to optimize images for size before using it. We do that automatically. You can just drag an image, look as big as you want into Convertri, and we'll do all that for you. We'll do the quality scaling and we'll do the size scaling. So we'll size that precisely based on how big you make it in the editor. But now we are going to add the panel. So you can see we've got the backing part. Now we're going to add this panel with the copy in it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to throw another panel on the page, again, just from the Elements toolbar. And we'll just resize that, use the drag handles. And again, not trying to be precise. And I'm not worrying too much about positioning here at the moment either. We can adjust the positioning quite easily with everything at the end. At the moment, I'm just getting the elements on the page. So next we're going to need some text boxes. And to add the text, you see we've clicked into the text box. We've got the little cursor go in there. And now we can just type in just like we do on Word. And we'll do another one, which will have the little bit of body copy on there. Just remind myself what that is. Okay. Again, I won't try and do it exactly. We'll just go close enough. And now we'll need a couple of other text boxes as well, because we've got an enter your best email comment that goes above the form. And we can change the alignment again from the text options up here. You'll see if we've got the text element selected, then this toolbar changes to a range of text options. If we have, say, the panel selected, then we get our quick actions back. And one final text element. So we've got a text on the page, but at the moment, obviously, it doesn't look great. So what we're going to do now is adjust the styling. Now, we can do this element by element. As you see, I've clicked in this one here. And so up in the text box here, we can change the font, we can change the size, we can change the text color, make it bold, italic, underlined, and alter the alignment, all that kind of thing. But I prefer to do this rather than doing it element by element. I prefer to do it through a feature called default styles. And you can find this in the page menu. So we'll just select that up there. And we'll select the default text styles. And so you can see the styles available for the paragraph, heading 1, heading 2, and the hyperlink. And what this does, if you change the default style, it will change that style for every text box on the page. So here, if we say Lato, I quite like Lato. And yeah, font weight of normal is fine, as is the size 16, but I am going to up the line spacing. We'll make that 1.8. I quite like a lot of white space between the lines because I think that makes the text a lot easier to read. So we'll do that. And click done. And you can see that all the boxes have changed. And I find this makes designing and adjusting pages a lot easier, especially if you're doing something like adjusting a template, because rather than change the boxes one by one, you can you know what, I don't want later on this page. I want to see how it looks with something else. So we'll go back to default styles and we'll pick, let's pick something dumb. Annie, use your telescope. I have no idea where they come up with these font names. I really don't. Right. And you see, if we click done, we can see how that looks with every text box using that font. We don't have to change every one. It's a very quick way of doing these design changes. Obviously, that's quite a hard font to read. We don't want that on our page, so we'll turn it back to Lato. And we can also change the heading 1 style. So for that one, I'm going to use Noto Sans. I'm going to keep it bold. I'm going to take the size down a bit. I'm going to make it 24. The line spacing is okay for this one because headlines is quite good for them to be quite punchy. And yep, centered is good. And we'll hit done. And now you can see nothing on the page has changed because none of the text boxes currently use the heading 1 style. So to change that, we'll click into this text box, which is the one we want to use it. We'll go to More in the text toolbar up here, and we'll switch this on to heading 1. And that has now taken the styles that we just set. So what we're going to do now is we are going to add the actual form elements. So these bits here, these 2 inputs and the download now button. And again, I've not bothered positioning these yet. We'll do that at the end. And there is actually something I forgot. Because if you notice on this page, these bits of text are a lot smaller. And I haven't done that yet, so I ought to. So we'll just adjust these font sizes, take those down to 12. And these ones I'm doing one by one rather than using a default star because I don't want like every bit of text to use this size. I just want these text boxes to use it. So that's better. Now we can add the form elements. And that is also how you can tell this stuff is live, because I'm not going to get this right all the way. So to add form elements, we'll click on the form elements button in the elements toolbar. And you'll see we get a range of options. We're going to want a first name field, stick you on there. We're going to want an email field, stick you on there. And we're going to want a submit button, stick you on there. James has asked, is the custom domain hosted by you? You don't use us as a registrar, but once you've got the domain registered, you can point the DNS at us and we'll work just like a normal domain host then. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to adjust the font size and type in here. So again, with the element selected, we'll open the properties panel and we'll select input properties. So this is where you can change the placeholder text. So if we wanted to have it say like enter first name, then we can do that. And again, just type it in there and it'll update automatically in the editor. I am going to make the font family Lato to match my body font. And we're going to go with a font size of 14 because I just like having it a little bit smaller. We'll do the same on the email field. And then we'll put the submit button in there. And for the button, if we click on button settings, we'll change the label, change that to download now. And I'm going to make the font family, I think I'm going to make that one Noto Sans. Again, I think I want that one matching the heading. Yeah, maybe bold, just make that stand out a bit. Okay, so now we want to get the positioning right. And to do this, first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the display menu and we're going to switch on element outlines. This just makes it a bit easier to see what we're doing, and I mean a bit easier for you to see what I'm doing as well, which is quite important here. Now what this does is it puts these hot pink outlines around every element on your page, and this won't affect the publish page. Like we could publish this now, they wouldn't show up. Like they wouldn't be there at all. But it helps quite a lot in the editor, so you can see like precisely what's contained by what, and lining things up properly. So what we're going to do is I'm going to maybe make that, maybe make the panel a little bit narrower. And then I'm going to center all the elements within the panel by selecting the alignment options from up here. So you can see there's lots of different alignment options you can use. Go left align, center align, middle align. With the container selected, we'll click on center align, and that will align every element within the container. Next, we want to distribute the form properly. So what we'll do is we'll just get the first and last bits where we want them. So as long as we make sure that the top form element is where we want it and the bottom form element is where we want it, we can automatically distribute all the other form elements evenly spaced within it. And we'll do that by multi-selecting all these. So I'm holding down the Shift button and clicking on all three elements, so you can see all three of these are now selected. We'll go to alignment, we'll go to distribute vertically, and that puts them nicely in the list. And now I'm just going to use the arrow keys to slightly adjust the position of these text boxes. And now we'll switch off the element outlines so we just get a good idea of how it looks. And I think that looks quite nice. So the last thing we need to do on this panel is if we go back to our demo page, you can see this one is like it's got this transparency effect to it, and it's got these nice beveled edges. So we can do that by selecting the panel. First, we'll do the beveled edges. We'll go to borders. We'll have the same border radius for every corner, and we'll make that 20. Yeah, 20 looks all right. Next, we'll go to background. And first, we're going to make it entirely white. And then we can adjust the transparency using the transparency slider on the right. So we can take it all the way down, all the way up. We want it somewhere in the middle. So like that. Like I want to get a nice effect so you can slightly see the background through it, but without compromising the readability of the text. So yeah, about like 75, I think is good for this. So last thing we've got to do on this page is add the privacy policy link. So we'll do that just by dragging on another text element, stick that down there. We will center it, and we'll just type in privacy policy, center the text. And to turn this into a link, what we're going to do is highlight the text and go to the hyperlink button, again in the text toolbar. And in link, I'm just going to type in our privacy policy link. Now this, I mean, at the moment, I'm typing in the privacy policy for Convertri itself. You would, like, when you're making these pages of your own, you'd want to use your own one. We'll switch that to opening a new tab. I mean, honestly, not many people are going to click privacy policy links on this kind of thing. But when they do, like, I don't want them like being taken away from the opt-in page. I would rather they still had it open in a tab that they could easily navigate back to. So we'll click Save. And this is the desktop version of the page, pretty much done. So last thing to do is check the mobile version. I can see there's a few questions coming in. We'll go to, like, I'll sort out the mobile version of the page. I will show you that, and then we'll go through the questions that are built up. So to go to the mobile view, we click the mobile button in the top right. And this is Convertri's automatic mobile conversion, which, like in this case, is all right. Like if we want, we can adjust anything here. So if we decide like we want to change things, we can just move that text. I want to put the form at the top. I'll put the text underneath. Like, and we can move anything around here without affecting the desktop view. See, none of this has changed at all. But the mobile version, we can adjust however we want. Just put that back because we don't actually want the form at the top. Now, one thing I am going to do on this page is I'm going to take down the size of this text a bit. Now, Convertri's automatic system is to use 150% mobile font size scaling. And the reason it uses that is because that makes the text on mobile about the same size as the text on desktop. And so that makes it fairly easy to read. And a lot of the time that's okay, but it's not something you always want. In this case, I would like it a bit smaller. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to use default styles. Go to the page menu, default styles, and in our paragraph style, I'm going to change the default font size scaling. I'm going to take that down to about 120. Now we'll go back to the mobile view. And you can see all the text boxes using that style. So this main text here, the enter your best email, the will never spam you text. Like that's all. The mobile text size has reduced on all of them. What I might do as well is I might just make that top bar a bit smaller and shift the rest of it up. So that is our first page complete. We haven't connected the form yet. We will do that after we've made the thank you page. But before we sort out the thank you page, I will have a look at some of the questions which are here. Peter's asking, is there a function to copy the formatting of one element to another element so that you can, for example, like do your changes to the first name field and then have that automatically applied to the email one? Easiest way to do that is to take your field, like make your changes to it, hit the clone button, and then you'll have like that fresh field with all the changes you've already made. Cloning actually also works on groups. So if we clone like this panel here, like that's containing all these elements, then Convertri will clone the entire thing. So you get the full group with all the other elements inside it. Charlotte's saying, all that you show now, can we do the same when using the WordPress plugin? Yep, all this stuff will work if you're using the WordPress plugin to publish your page. Though we do recommend, rather than using the WordPress plugin, it's generally better to use the CNAME method to set up a subdomain. And the reason for that is it just makes things a bit faster. Some of the more advanced Convertri features won't work with the WordPress plugin because it uses an iframe and some things interfere with that. But certainly everything you're going to see today, that will work fine with the WordPress plugin, yes. Dale's saying, once you finish setting up an opt-in page that you like, can you save it as a template so you can reuse the layout for future pages? Not directly, but there is a hack to do that, and I will show you what that is once we've finished building out the funnel. Do remind me if I don't do that. Ronnie's saying, seeking advice on activating a download now button. We'll be showing you how to do that through the rest of the demonstration. So if we get to the end of that and you haven't had your question answered yet, then let me know what you need to see. Rob's asking, is there a generic boilerplate privacy policy available that can serve as a starting point for small businesses? We don't provide one ourselves because it's going to be a bit different, depending on what country your business is based in. But there are plenty on the internet that you can find. So I don't think if you type in privacy policy template and your country name into Google, then you're going to find a lot of choices. Dale's asking, is there a way to not show the Convertri logo on your pages? Yes, there is. So you can do that either at the page by page level or you can do it for the full account. Since we're in the page at the moment, I'll show you the page by page one. So if we go to the page menu, then in the visual styling tab, which is where you start, you can see a powered by Convertri badge tab at the top here. And this will let you set the badge appearance. So this one is just using the account level settings. So you can also have show or don't show for the whole account. Alternatively, you can click to always show and choose where it goes. Or you can choose don't show, so regardless of what the account is set at, it will never be shown on this page. So you can update the setting there, publish your page, and it won't appear. I will show you how to do the account level once we've finished building out the funnel. Christina says, when you finish the demo, would you please help me with an order form? I will do my best. Medaya, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Madaya is saying, what is the best way to use pages like Sales Page, Squeeze, and so on that come with PLR, MRR products to get the pages into Convertri without having to start from scratch? If you've got access to the page importer, then that's definitely the easiest way to do it. Like host the HTML files, use the page importer on them, and Convertri will do the best it can to create a copy in the Convertri editor. If you don't have access to the page importer, then you're probably going to have to like just build it out. You'll be able to take probably some elements from the like copy the text and so on from the HTML file, but you're probably going to have to just build the page. However, there's quite a lot of people who do they do that kind of work for people. If you're in the Convertri Clubhouse Facebook group, which is that's the Facebook group for our users, quite a lot of people there. There's quite a lot of people in there who do that kind of work for people. So often for pretty reasonable rates. So you can put what you want in there, and you'll generally get a few responses on people willing to do it for you. Ben's asking, can we embed an iframe to make a host page for a live webinar? And if so, how can we embed a chat role beside or underneath it? You can definitely add an iframe to your page. That's effectively what the HTML element option here is. So we'll just drag that on. This gives you essentially a code block. So if we have that selected, we go to element properties, click edit HTML. If you've got code to embed your live webinar, then you can just copy and paste that in there, and that should just work. Again, if you have code for a chat role, then you should be able to add it the exact same way. So just add another HTML element and put it next to it or beneath it, wherever you want. Do make sure you give it enough space, as much space as it's going to need to expand, though, if it's an option like that. Michael's got to jump off. Don't worry about that. This is being recorded. There will be a replay up. It'll go in the knowledge base with all the rest, so you can catch up after that. Ben's asking, can we put a page behind a paywall? That's not a feature we directly have, but if you've got a page locking script, I don't see why you couldn't. You could add that. You can add scripts to your page again via the page menu. Select custom scripts here and then add page script. You can enter your code, the name for the script and so on. So if you've got the tools to do that, then you can get the code onto the Convertri page that way. Lane's asking, how do you change the page name in the top left corner? In fact, I can show you that right now, since we're going to have to go out now and make the thank you page. Oh, I've been doing these for weeks, I'm still not used to all this talking all at once. So let's save that. Close, and we're back in our funnel with our pages. If we want to rename this page, then we click on the three-dot menu, go to More, and then Rename is an option in these tabs. And we can change that to new page name for Lane. And it's as easy as that. Lane's also asking, is there a way to copy the page defaults to all the pages in the funnel? Not directly at the moment, though we are working on a system for basically setting page defaults for every page in the funnel. I'm not sure when that's going to get into the app, but it's currently in the design stages of our product development process. Until then, if you create a page like we've just done here, like I'm going to clone this as a base for our thank you page. So we'll go to More, and we'll go to Clone, and we'll call this one Thank You. And now I've cloned this, all the settings I've added to this opt-in page already, they will be copied across to this thank you page. So if you've got a page with the settings you want like already there, then you can just clone that one and you'll get all that stuff as well. So yeah, so now we're going to turn this into our thank you page. So you can see at the moment this is just a complete clone of the last one. And we're going to keep it pretty similar. I think it's quite nice when you're doing a funnel like this, it's quite nice to give your prospects a sense of continuity so they don't know they've been sent somewhere entirely random. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to leave like the background image in, and I'm going to leave the basic design. What I'm going to do is update the text in this panel, and I'm going to change the function of the button so they can get their lead magnet from it. So we'll just change this text. Let's say something like that. Let's go click the download button below to get your free copy of 7 top tips for slimming without starving. Definitely needs an exclamation mark, doesn't it? So again, not worrying too much if these things get out of alignment because we can adjust it pretty easily afterwards. Again, I'm going to multi-select these elements here so that enter your best email below, the 2 form fields, and the spam you text element, because we don't need those. And then we're just going to hit the delete button, get rid of all them at once. Move the download now button up there. Change the size of the panel, and we'll move that. Do we want to move that? Yeah, let's just stick it down a bit. There. Now, once again, I'm just going to check the alignment. So with the panel selected, go to the alignment tools, hit center align, let everything just like snap into place. I think I'm also going to change the color of the download button. So to do that, we've got the button selected. In the properties panel, we'll go to background, and let's have a green. There we are, something like that. Now we want to connect the lead magnet to the button. So we'll select our button. We'll go into button settings. And we want to change the mode of the button. So at the moment it's set to submit, which means it will try to submit any form that's on the page. We want to change it to download. And now we need to tell Convertri what file they want to download when they click the button. So we'll click on select file. Now you can see I've already got my lead magnet in here. Now again, I'm going to just delete that so you can see that. Basically, I can just take any file from my computer, we'll just drag it on, and Convertri will upload it. And you can use anything like a PDF, a Word document, a zip file. Now the file needs to be less than 40 megabytes, but that will cover like pretty much anything that you're going to put up here. If you do have a bigger file than 40 megabytes, like if you're giving them, say, a video, in that case, you can put the file on a service like S3 and just attach the link to the button, like your S3 link, to the button rather than use Convertri system. It'll work exactly the same way. So we now have that in there. We'll select our file, select, and you can see in the download file, we now have the link in there. So now if someone clicks that button, then they will automatically get our lead magnet. So we'll just check the mobile version. Now this one looks a bit odd this time, and that's because we've taken a clone of a page where we'd already made some mobile adjustments. But we can easily fix it using the remobilize function, which is clicking this button, select remobilize all. That basically reruns the mobile algorithm on our page. So we'll click that, and we get a version as if we'd never made any changes, and Convertri just remobilizes it for us. Now in this case, I do want to make some adjustments here, because this page, as you can see, is fairly small, and the reason for that is there just aren't that many elements on the page. Now, I don't want it that small, I want it to be a bit bigger, so I'm going to drag the privacy policy panel down. I'm going to make this background image a bit bigger, and I'm going to push this box a bit more to the center of the page. Maybe move that up a bit as well. And that I think will do quite nicely. So now we're going to publish this page. To do that, we click on the Publish button, just here in the top right. And we'll put that on /demo/thanks. Now you see I'm just typing in the bit after the domain here. It's going to go on, if you have a look here, your page will be available at neil.convertri.com/demo/thanks. So if I changed, if I change that to, I don't know, if I put orange in here, it appears at neil.convertri.com/orange. We'll hit publish. And we can now go to view page, and that page is now live. Ronnie was asking, do we not have to hit the download on click where we input the PDF link? You don't have to, no. If I just go back so everyone else can see what Ronnie means. If we click on the download button here, so we've set the download mode, we've got our file in there, and there is a toggle here, force download on click. So we can have that on, we can have that off. If you have it on, then the file will always be downloaded to the user's computer. If you have it off, then for some files, for instance, like PDFs and I think some kinds of document, the browser will try to open it in a new tab. And if you have it off, then basically it'll be whatever the browser's default way of doing it is. I've got this off, so this is a PDF. So if you click download now, it'll probably appear in a new tab, and then the user can either browse it or download it. If you don't want the browser to do that, then you can toggle that on. Personally, I don't particularly mind, so Charlotte was asking, can you also use video files hosted on Wasabi? I don't actually know Wasabi, but I mean, basically any file hosting will do. As long as it's an actual file hosting service and not not something like YouTube, which is more meant about video streaming, then that'll work fine. Peter's asking, are the contact details from form submission saved in Convertri somewhere? Yes, they are. They are saved in the prospect section, which you'll find in the cart. Though for the most part, certainly when I'm doing it, I always wire up an autoresponder. So what I'm doing now is I've clicked on this arrow button from the opt-in page. I'm going to take it to the thank you page, and we'll just draw that arrow between the two. And this basically tells Convertri that if someone is coming from this page, we probably want them to go to the thank you page here. and this will be quite useful when we are wiring up our form. So to connect our form to the page, we'll click on Forms up here. So we get Configure Form. We're going to click on Autoresponders. I'm going to connect to MailChimp because that is the autoresponder I've got connected to this account. First thing we do is select our list. We have a standard demo list for these situations, so there we are. And now we have, these are the different fields which we have set up in this autoresponder list. And this is where we tell them what form input that field corresponds to on the Convertri page. Some of these will be set automatically. Some of these will be they will be set and you won't be able to change them. And which are automatic and which are fixed and which you can just do whatever you want with. That generally depends on the autoresponder API. So in this case, MailChimp fixes the email. So you can't do anything with that. That has to be set to an email type. First name is it's automatically set, but you can change it if you want. And the other ones are left open. But that is actually where we want them to go. So we'll just go next. And now you can see because we have because we've already published our thank you page, because we have an arrow drawn between this page and that one, Convertri has automatically filled in the thank you page URL. We can change this to whatever we want. So we don't have to go there. We can send them to Google instead if we really want to. And in the suggestions box here, this will list every published page which has an arrow, which is connected by an arrow to this page. So if we had multiple pages connected by arrows, they would all be in a list here, and you could just pick whatever one you wanted. So we'll put that back to the thank you page, hit done. And now we just need to publish this page. So I'm going to stick that at demo/opt-in. Publish that. And there we are. So again, that is now live. If you want, you can go to that right now. You can stick your details in. You'll be added to our autoresponder list. You'll be directed to the thank you page, and there you'll be able to download the lead magnet. That's it's a very simple funnel, but built entirely from scratch, and live and working right now. So let's see what other questions we've got. Ronnie's saying that the force download option gives people the option where they want to download the PDF. Yeah, that's right. Joseph is asking, will there be an integration for constant contact emailing? But any integration like that, they go on the list depending on demand. We have a feature upvote list. If we just have a look at that. There, so this is where, basically, people email into our support with a feature suggestion. They come in, they go on our ideas board. We look through the ideas board and basically make sure that what's being requested isn't either entirely different to where we're aiming, what we're trying to do with the app, or just isn't possible to do. And as long as it's possible and it fits, then it'll go on this feature upvote board. And we will look at this, and this isn't the only thing that we use when we're deciding what features to develop next, but it is a factor. So depending on how long you've been around, you might know that we released shared headers and footers fairly recently. One of the reasons we developed them is because they were far and away the most popular concept on here. Christina's saying, how do you configure the fields with an autoresponder that isn't on the list? For that, you would want to use the HTML form integration, which I'm going to have to clear the form here because we can't have both on one page. So if we go to Forms and click on HTML Forms, and then click on Form from HTML Code, basically most autoresponders will give you an HTML form markup. You can add that markup into here. Convertri will then detect the fields and give you a list which will let you connect different fields to the different fields of the autoresponder. You'll select let's see if I've got an existing one set up in here. Yes, looks like I do. Okay. Let's just try attaching that one. So yeah. So now if we go to this form field, in form field settings, we'll see an option here for assigned form field. Now in this particular form, the only field that is there is the email one. So that's all I can select. But all of the fields that Convertri can detect from your autoresponder list will be in here. So you select the one you want it to go into, and then use that. You can do the same thing if you've got, if you're using a custom setup on the API connection. So again, let's just show that off. Clear the form, put MailChimp back. So here you can see we've got first name here connected to the first name type. Now, what that means is that Convertri is going to look for whichever form field here has the field type of first name. And you can see it's bold here because that's one that's already assigned to an autoresponder list. So all you've got to do is match those up. If we change the form field type here, if we change that type to, I don't know, website, then as long as we change this one to website, then the data entered in here is still going to go to the right place. And that is basically the same principle with the HTML forms. Dale's asking, can you require a confirm email before providing the download? So do you mean on the, having them enter it again on the thank you page? I've got to be honest, I'm not entirely sure. It might be, it'd be a bit of an advanced setup. It's possible you could do it with actions and events, but I would have to look into it to see if that is actually something you can set up with us or not. Joseph, you want a workaround to get constant contact to work? And that HTML form method that I just showed you, as long as constant contact provide the HTML markup for your form, which 99% of autoresponders do, I'd be very surprised if they didn't, then you can just use that. Jeremy's asking, can you set up a landing page as a quiz to send users to different pages based on multiple choice questions? You can. It's not really what Convertri is designed for, but that kind of thing is possible. There is a guide for creating a simple quiz landing page currently in the Facebook group. I'll just dig that out for you. Should be fairly near the top. At least I assumed it would be when I didn't put it in here that long ago. There we go. So I'll just stick that link into the chat so everyone can get that. So in that video, I basically demonstrated how to set up actions for a simple quiz page. Now that one isn't quite as complicated as the kind of thing you're after, because it's just about showing them different layers for a lead magnet. If you want to direct them to a new page depending on what questions they answer, then you would need to set up the actions such that, like, depending on what tree they've been through in the quiz, like they get shown a button with the right link on it, and then they would have to click it and go to the next page. That's probably about as close as you can get at the moment. Dale's saying, how do we see which autoresponders are on your list? Easiest way is just to go to the Forms menu, click autoresponders, and you can see them here. So we've got MailChimp, GetResponse, Aweber, ActiveCampaign, SendLane, Drip, ConvertKit, Market Hero, Infusionsoft, Platform Lead, Campaign Refinery, MailerLite, iContact, Sendio, and Smart Engage are the ones we have API integrations for at the moment. Ronnie's saying, can we demonstrate a buy now button? We can, yes. Let's. So we'll just use a submit button again. Now there's a couple of different ways of doing this. You'll need a product attached to the page. I don't think I've got a product set up on this account, so I can't demonstrate the full thing. But with a product attached to the page, you can add a credit card input. You can add like first name and email. So you can build your checkout form that way. When you hit the submit button, that will be submitted. You'll need to have your product attached to the page. You'll need to have your Stripe account wired up, and then the user will be able to pay through Stripe. Another way of doing that, if we just grab that button, we also have a modal checkout you can use if you don't want to build the entire thing yourself. And if we go to element properties, button settings, one of the modes here is checkout. So if we select that, and again, once we've got the products attached to the page, if someone clicks that button, that will open like a pre-built checkout modal that they can enter their details in and then buy from that. And yeah, Stripe is the only payment processor we've got integrated at the moment. PayPal is on the list. I really, really hope we get it at some point soon. We're also looking at a couple of others. I'm not entirely sure when they'll get in though. Peter's asking, is there a banner slider element? We have a carousel. It's more for like images than banners, but you can probably adapt it. So if we go to the more elements, so this menu at the bottom, we drag on carousel. And here, like as a default, there's 3 image slots, or like there's 3 images visible and 5 image slots. You can change both of these things. So you'd probably, like if you're looking at banners, you probably just want the 1 image visible at once. And then with the image selection, you can add your images in. So I'm going to want to be a bit bigger, aren't you? Kind of like that. And so you can put a carousel on the page in that way. You can also set it to auto scroll so it will just like change the images without the user having to interact with it. Okay, Christina, if Convertri can't find the other form fields in your autoresponder, then first of all you need to make sure they're actually set up in your autoresponder, so like they are there. Otherwise, it's probably worth sending the page into support and see if there's anything they can do to look at it. It's quite hard to do without seeing the page in front of me. Dale's saying, where do we find the tutorials in the members area? We've got a couple of things for this. If you go to help.convertri.com, and in fact there is a link to this in the help section here, Convertri knowledge base, then there are quite a lot of like articles and videos. I think there's some like 250 of them across the different categories. And you'll see these, they generally have a video tutorial and an article explaining what to do. These are for the knowledge base is designed around like if you're not sure how to do a particular thing, like in this case, like how to add a link to an element, you can search for that and then find a very short like video and article describing how to do it. If you're looking for a more like structured course that just takes you through the whole app, then you can go to convertri-crashcourse.productdino.com. And again, I'll stick the link to this in the chat. And that will give you like a full run through on, let's say, there's using templates, there's the editor basics, there's setting up forms, and there's also some rather more advanced stuff like the actions and events and setting up layers. Like in here, you'll find like there's a range of videos working through all the instruction. There is a PDF for every module that takes you literally step by step through doing all the different bits. So it's like do this, do this, do this. And so you can see every step of the way, like what you're meant to do. If you work through that course, like there's quite a lot of it, but honestly, it doesn't take that long. If you work through that, you'll get a very good grounding in how to use like a wide range of Convertri stuff. Yes, Jeremy, I'll make sure that you're approved to the Facebook group when they do the next round. Christina, no, the second checkout button, like it's not just for mobile. You can use it on desktop as well. Bent is asking if we want to make a product launch formula style funnel with 3 to 4 videos, how would that best be done? We actually have a template based on this. If you have a look in the template selector, like it's a fair way down, but you'll find like a product launch funnel or a launch funnel setup. So you can use those pages, or I mean, you can build your own. They're fairly simple. Might be an idea actually to do a call like this demonstrating how you build a page like that, because it would be quite quick. Ronnie's saying, I was having some issues with actions and events. Can you review that? Certainly can. If you've got a specific thing you want to know how to do, I'll see if I can show you how to do that. Dale's asking, can I switch the domain that I pick? You can't. You can't switch it, but you do get multiple of them. So you don't have to worry too much about what the first one is. There will be more to choose from. You can add your own custom domains as well, so you're not likely to run out. Okay, so that is. Let's just save that. So that's all the questions we've got in the box at the moment. No, one more come in. Christine, to set up a bump sale, you will find that again in the form elements. There's a bump sale box down here. So again, I can't show you much on here because you actually need a product set up, but that is where you need to attach the product to the bump sale checkbox. So you don't do them both through the products menu. Like it's technically one product per page, and the bump sale is like an extra. James is asking, where do you find the auto webinars? If you have auto webinars enabled on your account, then they will be on the left-hand menu, like in your dashboard here. So when you can see the list of all your funnels, you've got the options of funnels, auto webinars, and videos. So auto webinars will be there. Yeah, I can show you what the PLF template looks like. Let's search for launch. Yeah, there we are. So the funnel template is called product launch, and you'll see down here, there's the pre-sell 1, 2, 3. So I'll have a look at the first page. So we've got the video, the form, and obviously with any like template like this, like if you don't like precisely the way it looks, like they're all built in Convertri, you can change absolutely everything about them just as if you built the page yourself. So you're not stuck with 3 videos up here, you're not stuck with this font, you're not stuck with this particular layout. Like any of this you can change to whatever you want. Dale's asking, is auto webinars an additional purchase? It was. A while ago, we ran an offer to get into the beta of the auto webinars. They're still in beta at the moment. We're still adding the last few features. Once they're done, once we've got the final features in there, then we'll be offering them as an add-on, so anyone will be able to get in if they want. Joseph is asking, can we put a tap to call enabled link overlaid on a video player after the video ends? Yeah, you can set up some actions to do that. You'll need to use the Convertri video player, so we can detect when the video has ended. But you can set up an action so that when the video has finished, then your button appears, and you can have that come up over the top. I can probably show you quickly how to do that. So let's go to in media, we'll put on video. So this is the Convertri video element. And this is for, like, you'll need to use self-hosted videos with this one, or if you're using the Convertri hosting, then you can click on select your video and add them there. I don't have any videos uploaded on this account. Do I have a nice convenient MP4 link I can show you stuff with? Doesn't look like it, but that shouldn't affect the setup. Means I won't be able to show it like directly in action, but I can show you what the setup looks like. So we'll have our video element. We'll add on a button. Now I want that to be a link. Can't quite remember the HTML for this, so forgive me if this isn't quite right, but you get the idea. So you can add the tell link just onto a button the same way you would add on any other. Convertri is going to complain that it doesn't have HTTP or HTTPS at the start of it, but you don't have to worry about that, it'll still work. So you want to make sure the button is set to start hidden. And you can just put that over the top of your video. Now we'll select the video player. We'll go to Actions and Events and add new action. So event type, we want video. So, oh, sorry, I have forgotten one crucial thing. We need to give this button a name, so Convertri's got something to hook the action into. So we'll just call that click to call button. So now we'll select the video element, Actions and Events, add new action, have event type, video, and on end. And on the action we will show, and our target will be a button. So now when someone plays the video that is here, like they won't be able to see this button at the start because it's set to start hidden. When they play the video, after it's hit the end, then the button will appear. So you can have the button just appear over the top like of the video, like once it reaches that point. Ben's asking, do the internal videos load faster than, as an example, Vimeo? Yes, I think they do. All the different, like we have 3 different, like of the standard video hosting services, just directly integrated as elements. You see, we've got Vimeo, Wistia, YouTube. You can also use like just plain S3 with ours or our own hosting. Our hosting or our video hosting is designed to be very fast, much like everything else in Convertri is. We use a very high quality CDN for the videos, and we break them up into small bits, so it's effectively streamed rather than like the viewer having to load the entire thing. Certainly in our speed tests, our player has been faster than all the rest. That said, of the 3 that were in there, YouTube, Vimeo, Wistia, Vimeo was by far the fastest. Like we knocked spots off YouTube. We were a long way ahead of Wistia. Like we were still faster than Vimeo by like a second, half a second, but they were a lot closer to us. I don't think there's a particular tutorial for tap to call. But like I said, like this webinar is being recorded, so you can always refer back to this. Dale's asking, have I tested Max Drive? I haven't, so I can't comment on their speed in relation to us. Okay, that's the end of the questions at the moment. There is a couple of other little things I want to show you. Because obviously I use Convertri quite a lot, like for myself and like for business stuff. And so I've used the editor quite a lot. And that means like there's certain things like that I've picked up that just make it a lot easier to use. So I just want to show you a couple of those. So this is a basic template. Like, looks okay. It's one of our older ones, but it's a good demonstration ground for this stuff. So one thing is about moving lots of elements at once. Now with Convertri, let's say it understands containment. We can like take a section like this, and we can move it around. Actually, I'll switch on element outline so you can see what I'm doing. So we can take an element like this, we can move it around. But doing things one by one, especially when there's a load of sections underneath it, like that's quite a lot of hassle. So to move entire like chunks of the page at once, if you hold down Shift when you've got an element like this selected and drag it down, it won't just move the element you've selected, it'll move everything underneath it as well. So this is a really useful way of just like opening up a section on your page. It works as well to drag everything up. Like if you want to close up a section. Another feature that is quite useful, if we just like get rid of that one, if we want to like instantly close up this gap in the middle, like that section is left, we can click on the section below it. And this button up here next to the trash can, that is remove white space above. So we'll click that and everything just snaps up. Obviously, if you're just removing one section, I tend to find shift drag is fine for that. But if you're like adjusting a template and you want the top section and the footer, but you don't want the 5 different sections in the middle, then deleting every one of those and just hitting remove white space to snap the footer right up to the top, like makes things a lot easier. Another very useful thing to know about is alignment. Because obviously, like with Convertri, you can put things anywhere, and you've got snap lines for the different elements. But often you're going to want like elements spaced nicely and evenly throughout the page. Now I showed you briefly some alignment elements back, like in our earlier demonstration when we were building the funnel. But I want to show you how to use them to get to really nicely space some elements. So what I'm going to do first of all, I'm just going to add a few more of these images to the page, and I'm going to clone these. Another quite useful keyboard shortcut for that: hold down the Alt key, drag the element, you get a copy. As I say, that also works for groups. So if I hold down the Alt key on that container, then I get a copy with everything inside it as well. We'll have a couple more of you. So we've got our collection of people here, and let's say we want to get these these 6 headshots nicely spaced across the page. First thing I'm going to do is add a backing panel, and we'll make that the width that we want these to go across. So I want that within these 960 page guidelines. We'll send that to the back. And we'll just make that transparent. So again, background, color, and we'll just whack the transparency slider all the way to the bottom. And you can still see where it is with that pink outline. So first thing we'll do, we'll just make sure all these headshots are properly contained. Then we'll select this backing element, and we're going to go in the alignment options. First of all, we're going to go middle line, so just snap everything into the vertical center line. Then we'll go for horizontally contained, and that just lines them up really nicely. Like, so there's a nice even space between the edges and between each image. So again, we'll just turn off the element outlines. And you can see they are nicely evenly spaced. And you can do that for as many elements as you want. So you don't have to worry about like specific widths or anything like that. Just get the elements you want on the page, stick them all in the backing element, like of the width that you want them to cover, and then use those alignment options to space them nicely and evenly. So we'll just get rid of a couple of those, we'll just put those back. So those are all quite useful things, but the single most useful thing that you'll want to know when building Convertri pages is how to make a page build work nicely with the mobile algorithm. So again, we'll switch on the element outlines. Because this page here, like the reason I'm using this one as a demonstration page is that it's not very well constructed. And that means when we go to the mobile view, like it doesn't really look like what we want. And the reason it looks like this, like to understand the reason it looks like this, we need to understand like what Convertri is doing to turn a desktop page into a mobile one. And what it does is basically, you can imagine there's like a tracer line running from the top left to the bottom right of your page, just running along the page, left to right, and moving down. You know, kind of like a typewriter. So the first element it hits is this one. And so that is the first element that goes into the mobile. Second element it hits is we are open. Next element it hits is the picture. So that's the way they go in. Then we are open, then the picture. And that's all right, like for that kind of structure. Like that's pretty much what we want anyway. But then we get down here. And Convertri is hitting bread, then pastry, then coffee, and then it's hitting the text underneath. And so that's the order it puts these things in, which obviously we don't particularly want. You'll also see if we come down here, this area is going to have a similar problem because these headshots are not, like they're not contained in the same area as these quotes. So they're separated, which is again, not what we're after. And down the bottom, we have these social icons. Which Convertri has put in a line. And I mean, that's not really too bad, but it would be better, like personally, I think it'd be a lot better if they were horizontal rather than vertical. And we can make Convertri do all of this stuff automatically. And the way we do this is by understanding like containment. Because the mobile algorithm understands containment, it understands that if an element is contained within another element, like you want them to be kept together. So as an example, we'll drag on a panel here. I'm not sure if you can hear that, but I've got quite a lot of sirens going on outside my window at the moment. So we're going to send that to the back, just bring it forward so we can see that these elements are now contained within that container. And we will do the same thing on the others. Now, personally, if I was building this page from scratch, like I wouldn't build it in this way. I wouldn't like put these on and then add containers to it. Like it's definitely a lot easier to build a container, put the stuff in it. If you're doing something like this, like by far I find the easiest way to do it is to like get your container, put your elements within it, then use the clone feature to just clone the whole thing so you get a nice easy copy. Since we're adjusting like a pre-existing page, then we don't get to do that. So we now have all these elements contained. And if we go to the mobile view, you can see that Convertri has kept them together. And I've left the background color on these so you can see what's going on easier. But it doesn't matter about the color. Like, these can be entirely transparent. Yeah, entirely transparent, and it still works. We can do the same thing down here. So we'll just expand these containers to fill the so the headshots are contained as well. Go to mobile, and Convertri's kept them together. Last thing to look at is the social icons. And again, containment helps us here too. Now, one useful trick with containers like this, when you want elements like this, like kept horizontal, like especially when they're small. The key is to know that if the container is less than 320 pixels wide, then Convertri will understand that it doesn't have to rearrange things to fit onto mobile. The screen is or the element is narrow enough that it can just fit on the mobile screen as it is. So here, if we check the size, we can do that in the positioning tab. This container is a width of 218. So we go to the mobile view, and they're kept horizontal. And not just horizontal, but exactly the same way they're arranged in desktop. If we make that wider, so we'll do it like 338, we go to mobile. Convertri has had to shrink the container. And to do that, and once it's done that, it rearranges the elements within it. So wide, vertical rearrangement, make it narrower, so less than 320, kept the same way. So those few little things will make like building pages on Convertri and then doing the mobile conversion, like they will just make it so much faster and so much easier. Like it definitely becomes a lot easier to get a handle on Convertri when you understand how this stuff works. So I can see there's a few more questions in there. Does anyone have any questions on what they've just seen on the funnel, or anything else to do with Convertri, or I don't know, anything else come to that? Dale's asking, do we need to do any image compression before we load the image? No, we do all that for you. I'll say I'm not sure if you're around for the beginning of the presentation or not, but I was using a very large image for the backing image on the funnel. There was like the original file was something like 6 megabytes, and if we go to the page, go away Google. If we go to the page, you can see how quickly that loads. Linda's asking, where are the stored webinars kept? You will find those in our knowledge base. So if you go to help.convertri.com, then there is a section here, getting started webinars. And you'll see this is where all the past recordings of like this webinar are stored, and this one will go in there as well when they're done. Something else you might find useful is the training webinars section. So we have one on like connecting emails So if you've got a custom domain and you want to get emails at your domain, that shows you how to do it. Also covers split testing. There's one in there on actions and events, also covering the menu element. There's one that's like a more complicated funnel build through than what you just saw. So that's also like including a product setup. That might actually be useful for you, Christine. So I'll just put these links in the chat as well. So that's the main training set. This is the set of like getting started webinars. But you'll find all those in there. Okay, Christine, let's see if we've got a help article on cart abandonment. Yep, there we are. So again, that link's in the chat. If you're having trouble setting up the cart abandonment, like go through that video, go through that article, that should show you how to do it. If you're still having problems after that, then let's say get in touch with support, someone will be able to help you. Oh, God, Peter's right. Yes, there was a question someone asked at the beginning that I said I would do at the end, and I don't remember what it was either. Does anyone else? Barrington's asking, what are the steps for linking a submitted form submission to Aweber? It works just the same as it does with MailChimp. In case you weren't on the call earlier, I'll just show you that one. Like, I can't show you Aweber specifically because I don't have Aweber connected to this account, but the steps are exactly the same. So I'll just clear the form so you can see it again. So to attach a form to your page, we'll go to the Forms menu at the top. We'll use an API connection. We have Aweber on the API list, so you can like connect that through there. Like I say, I'm going to use MailChimp because that's the one I've got connected to this account. But like once you've got it integrated, you'll see exactly the same things. So once you're here, you select like what list you want. You select the type for the fields. And basically, Convertri will be matching the type you set here to the types set on the different inputs. So here it will find, like you've set, or I've set, like the type for this field to be first name. So Convertri will find whatever input has the first name type, and it will take the data from that field and put it in the equivalent field on your autoresponder. So you select the types there, hit done. Make sure the types on these fields match up. So we want first name in that one, and we want email in that one. And that's all you need to do. The form is connected now. Joseph is asking, would you say Convertri is a good replacement for Duda Website Builder? Gotta be honest, I've never used Duda Website Builder. I'd like to believe we're a good replacement for it. So yes, we are. Ronnie's asking, once the autoresponder has captured the opt-in email address, we can then set that up to send an email. Yeah, like that will all be done at your autoresponder end rather than in Convertri. But pretty much every autoresponder will let you like send an email automatically on like when someone has signed up. So yeah, that won't be a problem. Oh, that's right. Yes, it was about getting pages you've built into your template selector. That's what it was. Thank you, Ronnie. So the way you do that, let's say there's no like button that just does it. However, every page has a share code or a share link, I should say. So if we go to on this three-dot menu, if we go to more and share, you'll find a share code, you'll find a share link. The share link is the one you want. Now these are designed for you to share like the Convertri pages that you've made like with your friends, with your business partners, with other people. And what that will do is if you give someone this link, if they have a Convertri account, that page will automatically be imported like into their template selector, and they'll have the option to build it as well. If the person you're giving the link to doesn't have a Convertri account, then they'll be given the option to sign up with Convertri, like with your page included. And if they do that, like if they do sign up, like they keep it after the trial, then like you will automatically be an affiliate for that. You'll get 30% of their fees. But for this particular use case, getting a page into your own template selector, if you take this link and use it on your own Convertri account, so basically just taking the link, sticking it in the URL bar and clicking it, that will then act as if you've imported it into your own account, and it will go into your template selector that way. Shashi's asking, can we integrate with Zapier? Yes, you can. In the account menu, go to integrations, and you'll see Zapier is an option up here. So you can integrate it through there. Oh, 2:40 a.m. for Jeremy. Thank you for staying up so long. I hope it was worth it. Stefan's asking, can we create a website with Convertri? Yes, you can. In fact, this is our own website here. Like it's the Convertri homepage, and you see it's got our little power by badge. Like we built this in Convertri, so it's definitely possible to do that. And this is using our shared headers. It's using our menu element, and it loads pretty quick as well. Ben's asking, with the Product Dino integration, is payment checkout in Convertri or Product Dino? Payment checkout is in Convertri, and that will pass the details to Product Dino so people automatically get access to the membership. Dale's asking, where can we see previously recorded webinars like this one? You'll find all those in the knowledge base. Let's see if I've still got that open. So all the webinars, like all the runnings of this particular webinar we've done, you'll find them in Getting Started. So Getting Started webinars here, see they're all there. There's the recording. And this one, like assuming the recording works fine, which I mean 99% of the time they do, this one like will be added in there as well, like in the next couple of days. There are also training webinars in the training webinars section, and you can see, let's see, there's one about getting started, which is again effectively this one. There's a more complicated funnel build, so one that like includes a product for sale at the end of it. There's one about connecting emails. There's one with some particular training on like ways you can help out any clients you've got, like with the current crap that's going on. There's also quite a useful one up here. Uh, Interview with a guy called Jim Rigney. He's certainly one of our like longest term, probably most successful users. He's built an agency with Convertri. When we recorded this interview, which was about a year ago, I think, he had made about 75 grand with it at that point. He's done into six figures now, and he does it all like he's still got his job. He quite enjoys it. He just does this as a sideline when he feels like it. But that interview was all about how he does it, and so that's quite a good one to watch, I think. Uh, Dale is asking, do you ever offer more general webinars for Q&A, or should we ask questions through Facebook? We do sometimes, but definitely going through Facebook is probably the quicker way of doing it. The Facebook link for the Facebook group is, in fact, that one there. So I'll stick that link in the chat. So if you click that link, you'll be able to you'll be able to apply to join. In fact, that was you, Jeremy, wasn't it? It's yeah, fine. Let's get you in there. So yeah, generally we add people to the Facebook group like every weekday morning. So you're not generally waiting that long to to get in. How did we build the home banner of the Convertri website with the video? Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, I don't have the actual video to hand, but I can show you how it was constructed in Convertri. Oh, just bear with me, getting a bit of water. I was saying earlier, I'm still not used to talking this long. Uh, let's make a new page for this one. So this was done using the background video element. So we go. God, I've lost my tab. Close down a few of these. So if we go to media and then background video, this adds our background video area. So you'd put in like the URL of your video in the video source here. It's the video properties tab of the properties panel. So generally you'd have that video like somewhere like S3. You take that link, put it in there. For this page, we've also added like a black transparency over the top, so it's not too bright, and so you can read the text easier. And so if you'll forgive the very quick demo, the way we've done that is just put a panel over the top like this, full width it, made the background, I think it's like a slightly off black, and take the transparency down. I appreciate it's hard to see the effect without an actual video playing here, but it's totally getting a bit more transparent. Make you white. I think we generally use Nanito. And so that's the general way it's constructed. After that, it's like another text element for that and a couple of buttons. And yeah, that's all you need to do. Best webinar ever. Thank you very much, Ben. I'm still kind of feeling my way as I do these things. Okay, does anyone else have any questions? Uh, could Quaderno be integrated through Stripe with you at checkout? I think if I mean I'm not familiar with Quaderno. If Quaderno is like something that is like an option within Stripe, then we probably need to do a bit of dev work to enable it, but it probably wouldn't be quite as like it wouldn't be as much work as taking an entirely new payment processor. So not right now, but probably in the future. It's a sales tax program. It could definitely be applied, I believe, but it probably wouldn't reflect in the like it probably wouldn't reflect in the Convertri modal checkout. If you're building an on-page checkout where you're just fixing what the price is, then you could include it like you could include the full price that way. So you could probably do it, but you might have some people wondering how like why they got charged a bit of a different amount to what it said. Stefan's asking for the website, how can we do the links to the different pages? What we did on this one is like this is a menu element that is within Convertri. And I can just show you that quickly. So there is a menu element from the left-hand bar. And we'll just put in oh dear, I can't even remember what the other one is. Pricing, probably. And with each of these items, you can set a link for it. And you can just add the link in here. And then when someone clicks like on that item, they will go to the link you've set. You can also have a submenu, again, like we've got here. So each of these goes to the page rather than the main page itself. But that, I think, is the easiest way to do it. Shashi's asking, how do you compare with CloudFunnels? I don't know about CloudFunnels, I'm afraid. So it's not an app I've used. I think is that the one that launched recently? I mean, if so, like I'm sure it's fine. It probably doesn't have the kind of feature set that we've got, like just because we've been going for like 4 years now. Like we've had a lot more development time. but I haven't personally used it, so I can't draw a direct comparison. Barrington's asking, can I use the submit button as an affiliate link and also to email the submitted information to Aweber? Yeah, if you want, like if you're trying to do something where you've got like an opt-in page, kind of like the one that we've built. So say here, but rather than this button submitting the information and sending them to the thank you page, like it would submit the information and send them to a sales page via your affiliate link. Then you can do that just by when you set up the form. Right, I clicked the wrong one. When you set up the form for the thank you page, if you just add your affiliate link in here, then like the form will be submitted. The user will be sent via your affiliate link to that sales page. So that should work fine. Okay, any more questions? Anything I've missed? Okay, looks like, oh no, there's, Medea is suggesting opt-in page to a bridge page, then to an affiliate sales page. Yep, that would work fine as well. In that case, you would set up like your affiliate link on the thank you page, rather than like connecting it as the thank you page to your form. Okay, I think that's everything from the look of it. We seem to be out of questions. I hope you guys found this useful. And like I say, we do like if there is anything you want like covered again. This is like it's being recorded. The recording will go in the knowledge base with the rest in like a couple of days. I would think like we aim to have it in there by the following Tuesday, which I think is something like the 2nd of June. But like normally it's up there a little bit earlier. We also run like this presentation is run every couple of weeks. So you're welcome to come to another one and see if there is like get a refresher on anything you missed last time. And yeah, and so that looks like that. Again, thanks very much for coming. Like I do appreciate you coming on, especially everyone who has stuck all the way through to the end. Recording will be with you very soon, and yeah, I will maybe see you next time. Thanks very much, everyone.